In this video, we will look at the important aspects of the integration and positioning of your AdSense ad units and link units. The question that most AdSense publishers ask themselves is, how do I increase my AdSense click-through rate? Now I'll show you the most effective techniques to increase your CTR. I will in fact show you so powerful techniques that you need to be prepared to ask yourself the question, is or should AdSense be my primary revenue model for a certain site? Most AdSense publishers, they would love to be able to implement AdSense techniques that achieve 30, 40 or even 50% click-through rate. So in practice, this may mean that if you operate a site that has another purpose or revenue model, for example a membership site, you may start to lose sign-ups as many of your most potential members instead click on your AdSense ads. Now if you don't think that's a problem, that's great. But if it does become a problem, it is easily solved with another technique that I call the double landing page technique, which I will be covering later. Or you may simply choose to start using less ad units. What I'm really encouraging you to do here is to start thinking about the productivity of your links on your pages. Now let me say that again, the productivity of your links. As an example, we know that the highest paying AdSense ad is usually being served at the top left of your AdSense page. Now this is not always the case, but in general. And any other link on your AdSense pages are in effect competing for that visitor's attention. As an example of this would be an AdSense page that has 3 ad units, for example, and 1 link unit nicely integrated on that page. But then the webmaster of that page has also added 26 various text links, affiliate links, and links to his own site in bold, as well as 6 screaming affiliate banners in different colors. The point I'm trying to make here is, in this example, is quite obvious. You need to arrive to what I refer to as your link priority on your AdSense pages. So when designing any AdSense page or integrate AdSense ads on your pages, you need to consider where you get paid the most. You may decide that your AdSense income is your secondary income source from your website. And that's fine. You should still, however, make the AdSense units that you do integrate to be as profitable as you can. And for that purpose, I'll be showing you the most powerful AdSense integration techniques. And for this purpose, I will assume that the overall goal for you is to maximize your AdSense earnings. Now in later videos, I will discuss the integration of additional revenue streams. So for now, we will look at the most powerful AdSense integration techniques. There are perhaps 100 different things that you can keep in mind when designing your AdSense pages and integrating your AdSense ads on them. I will be much more use to you if I show you the 10 most effective techniques that you can learn today and integrate yourself by tomorrow, and that will have a major impact on your earnings straight away, rather than teaching you 100 techniques that may only offer you a couple of extra % additional click-through rate. So let's start talking about these integration recommendations. To maximize your Google AdSense revenue, you want to make full use of as many ad units as possible. Google currently allows you to use 3 ad units, 1 link unit, and 2 Google search boxes on a single page at any time. So recommendation number 1 is to use the maximum number of ad units that you can. Now this does not necessarily mean that you should also integrate 2 Google search boxes on all your pages. In fact, I recommend that you don't. At the same time, you need to also consider your internal and competing links on your AdSense page. Ask yourself, what other link or click options do you offer your visitor? If you offer no other links but AdSense links, you will enjoy a much higher click-through rate. I'll show you later how you can use such an approach while still maintaining compliance with Google, and that you can integrate nicely with an existing website. To maximize your click-through rate, you also need to locate the best ad space and positions for your AdSense ads on your site. And as with buying ad space in the local newspaper, the first page is always the most expensive, as it is the most read by visitors and therefore the most productive for advertisers. I'll show you which areas are the most valuable positions to you and the most productive ones for your AdSense positions. So recommendation number 2 is to use the best ad space that you have available on your website. All web surfers have one thing in common, and that is that they don't like ads being shoved up their face. People want to be informed and not sold to. And I'm sure you can agree with me on this one. So how do you make ads appear to be informative rather than selling? Well, it's actually not that difficult. You make your ads interesting by integrating them into your content. So recommendation number 3 is to remember that people want to be informed and not sold to. So I'll show you several crucial techniques to accomplish just this. Now those are the 3 overall recommendations that you need to keep in mind. And since we have already covered recommendation number 1, which is the maximum number of ad units as well as recommended ad formats from the previous videos, I will continue to look at recommendation number 2. Where are your most productive ad positions? This dummy frame I'm going to illustrate to you how a website visitor normally approaches and enters into your website page. This is important as this has a major impact on where you should consider placing your AdSense ads. There have been multiple scientific studies into the area of internet surface behavior as well as viewing patterns, and the majority of them unanimously agree that anyone normally reading from left to right enters a website by looking at the top left corner and then quickly browses across the site to the right hand side of your page and then cuts down and goes back to the left hand side of your page. But from here, that visitor cuts down in an angle and focuses his attention or her attention to the center section of your page. The reader automatically also tries to determine 2 things. What is navigational aid on the site and what is informative content? And importantly, any obvious ads are automatically perceived as being of less interest. Now, being aware of this normal human behavior, we can quickly determine what your prime ad positions are. That would be the top section of your page. And this is why top leaderboard usually works really well here. And the second most interesting ad position would be any section directly in the center of your allocated page. Most website visitors are also well trained in finding additional links and resources towards the very bottom of the page, and this consequently means that many visitors to your site will spend a lot of time there, and you then have an opportunity to offer them AdSense information when they get there. And the same goes for navigational and resource areas that are many times found on the column sites of the page, and these areas would be good areas for link units. I'm now going to show you a couple of live websites. They're not mine, they're just a couple that I found this morning, and I'm not saying that they are in compliance with Google's AdSense program policies. I just want to point out a couple of strengths and weaknesses with each of these sites so we can learn a bit more about these preferred ad positions. I'm going to show you a number of randomly chosen sites that I have no affiliation with, and I pass no judgment on these sites, but I want to provide you with some real-life examples to illustrate some effective as well as non-effective techniques for positioning AdSense units on your AdSense pages. So let's start with this site, a site called workatHomeMadeEasy.net, a rank which I believe ranks quite high in Google. And there's a couple of things with this site in relation to AdSense positioning that I really like and that I would like to point out to you. Now they're using a leaderboard format up at the very top, which is good. However, placing it before even the title of the page will have most visitors skipping it. And I will recommend that this ad unit is moved to just below the title section of this page. This should have a very noticeable effect on the click-through rate, as visitors in general wants to determine what a site is all about before he or she is prepared to click on any link. Now, what I also really like with this site is the way they have integrated a link unit down here in the same color as the main navigational link menu, which is just above it. This is clearly a best practice technique, and I say well done to that. Scrolling down a little bit further, we find an add unit up here, up at the very top left. It's a button-sized add unit, 125 by 125, up at the very top section of the main content area. For this particular design, the use of the 125 by 125 format is actually quite valid, and you can see that the integration of this add unit most likely works really well, as all the other featured resources in this section share the same look and feel. Scrolling